criticizing the previous government for its alleged negligence in implementing the National Action Plan, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has vowed to restore the role of provinces in the plan. The Prime Minister stressed that ensuring law and order and a peaceful atmosphere in the country was a prerequisite for restoring national economy and development, adding that the entire nation was united on the anti-terrorism narrative, standing behind the armed forces and law enforcement agencies. The Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf has formally launched its by-election campaign in Punjab, with party chairman Imran Khan making visits to 4 constituencies of Lahore to motivate workers to teach turncoats a lesson with a humiliating defeat. The PTI has pitched 4 party diehards against dissidents who are now PMLN candidates and who ditched the party at a crucial juncture of re-election of Punjab Chief Minister after Usman Bizar resigned as Chief Minister. 2 died and at least a dozen were injured as violence marred the first phase of local bodies elections in Sindh. The voting process began at 8 a.m. on Sunday and concluded at 5 p.m. However, the Election Commission of Pakistan said it would extend the timing at polling stations where the voting process was suspended during the originally designated hours. According to unofficial results, the PPP has emerged victorious in 10 wards. The Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf candidate Fazal Mullah won the Sawat by-election in PK7 constituency of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, defeating Awami National Party's Hussain Ahmed. The seat had fallen vacant following the death of ANP MPA Waqar Ahmed Khan from cardiac arrest on April 30th. The Civil Aviation Authority has notified wearing masks mandatory for domestic flights with immediate effect amid a rise in COVID-19 cases in the country. Pakistan reported more than 400 coronavirus cases for 2 days straight as Karachi's positivity rate was recorded at 21.7%, the highest in the country. 2 soldiers were martyred and 7 terrorists killed during an exchange of fire in North Waziristan's Ghulam Khan Kaleh area. According to a statement by the Inter-Services Public Relations, soldiers effectively engaged the terrorists, killing 7 of them and recovering weapons and ammunition. It added that the terrorists were actively involved in terror activities against security forces. Group of 7 leaders have pledged to raise $600 billion in private and public funds over 5 years to finance needed infrastructure in developing countries and counter China's multi-trillion-dollar Belt and Road project. US President Joe Biden and other G7 leaders relaunched the newly named Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment at their annual gathering being held this year in southern Germany. The World Central Bank umbrella body, the Bank for International Settlements, has called for interest rates to be raised quickly and decisively to prevent the surge in inflation turning into something even more problematic. Surging energy and food prices mean inflation in many places is now its hottest in decades. But the usual remedy of ramping up interest rates is raising the specter of recession and even of the dreaded 1970s-style stagflation, where rising prices are coupled with low or negative economic growth. Russia is edging closer to default amid little sign that investors holding its international bonds had received payments, heralding what would be the nation's first default in decades. Russia has struggled to keep up payments on $40 billion of outstanding bonds since its invasion of Ukraine on February 24th, which provoked sweeping sanctions that have effectively cut the country out of the global financial system and rendered its assets untouchable to many investors. The Kremlin has repeatedly said that there are no grounds for Russia to default, but it is unable to send money to bondholders because of sanctions, accusing the West of trying to drive into an artificial default. Vladimir Putin will visit 2 small former Soviet states in Central Asia this week, in what would be the Russian leader's first known trip abroad since ordering the invasion of Ukraine. In Dushanbe, Putin will meet Tajik President Emomali Rakhmon, a close Russian ally and the longest-serving ruler of a former Soviet state. In Ashgabat, he will attend a summit of Caspian nations, including the leaders of Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Iran, and Turkmenistan. Carrying the ham and sickle flags of the former Soviet Union, thousands protested in Madrid against a NATO summit which will take place in the Spanish capital next week. Amid tight security, leaders of the member countries will meet in Madrid between 29th and 30th June as the organization faces the unprecedented challenge of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. NATO is expected to consider the bid for Finland and Sweden to join. New Zealand were dismissed for 326 to set England a target of 296 for victory after the informed Daryl Mitchell and Tom Blundell had again frustrated the hosts on the fourth day of the third test at Headingley on Sunday. England are bidding to win every match of a home series with at least 3 tests for the first time since they beat India in 2011. Thousands affected by a deadly earthquake in eastern Afghanistan are in need of clean water and food and are at risk of disease, an Afghan health ministry official said on Sunday, days after United Nations agency warned of a cholera outbreak in the region. At least 1,000 people were killed, 2,000 injured, and 10,000 homes destroyed in Wednesday's earthquake, after which the UN Humanitarian Office warned that cholera outbreaks in the aftermath are of particular and serious concern.